Hey everyone. So I've been asked a couple questions about grow lights and I wanted to address them, and the best way I can even talk about grow lights is by answering your questions. So be ready for this. Okay, so I got my trusty iPad here, and what I'm going to do is just simply kind of let it be back to school for a little bit here, just so that I can go ahead and answer the questions the best way I know how. So let's see here. One of the first questions I get often is, how big of a grow light do I need? Well, it really depends on the size and space that you're trying to use it in. If you got a 4x4 tent, they sell lights that are labeled 4x4. If you got a 2x4, they even have lights that says 2x4. Basically, it's going to cover the size of your tent or your grow space. So you want to measure accordingly. You want to measure, because you may need more than one grow light. And then you definitely want to make sure that you have a space in which the plants can actually absorb the amount of light that it needs. Another question that I get often is, the wattage seems high. Do I really need that much? Well, let's put it this way. Back in the day, they used to have these lights, and they still do actually, called T5. And those particular lights were at certain kilowatt hours and so on. So today's grow lights are kind of, the LEDs is kind of based off of that, and that's why it reads like, say, 1,000 or 3,000 watts. But it's not necessarily pulling that much from your home, so you don't have to like go crazy and think your light bill is going to be $11,000, because if it is that much, the cops are coming. So anyway, but basically they have a couple of LEDs, for instance, and the LEDs currently are the ones that are the more popular. The LEDs is what I'm showing you right here. These are what they consider LEDs. These here are ones that you can get. They sell them on Amazon. They're pretty much everywhere, and they're inexpensive actually. So this is from a couple of years back that I used to do gardening, but I did it in dirt, not hydroponics. So I find that there is a little bit of a difference in what it is that I need lights for now than I did back then. So hopefully that answered your question. So another question that I've been getting often is, why do some grow lights emit certain colors? Well, plants grow at different stages, and they have grow lights because you're using light. You're not out in the natural sun, even though the sun gives you a full spectrum of everything. So, this is just mimicking what the sun is doing. With that, different grow lights can be for maybe just the growth stage, the vegetation stage. Other grow lights may be up until the bloom stage. They even make grow lights now, which are the ones that I'm using, that are, what is it I'm trying to say, just the diodes themselves, and they have a dimmer on them, so the dimmer can put you in those different stages as you wish. Now, what you want to look for when you look for grow lights is not to worry about the colors, because especially if you're a beginning gardener, especially like me, I didn't know what I was looking for, and I got one good piece of advice: look for full spectrum lights. That will stop all your questions when it comes to the colors. I'm telling you, because the full spectrum lights basically will allow you to be able to grow your plants and everything from seedling all the way up until bloom and vegetation and fruits and vegetables. One thing I wanted to show you, because one of these lights, I'm trying to remember which one was it that had the different colors. This one, I think, was the one. This was one I had bought. Oh my gosh, this light has to be at least 10 years old. But this was one I had purchased some time ago, and I couldn't understand it when I first got it. See, you see that? This is the light that people used to have in their house years ago when they would grow other things. And these lights, though, do come with fans. So when you're on Amazon, turn that off. When you're on Amazon and everything, these type of lights have fans attached to them. Makes them a little noisy. So I personally like the ones I got now because there are no fans attached, and it keeps it quiet. Because if you're doing the method I'm doing, which is the deep water culture, I have a pump running. So the pump itself has its own noise spectrum as it is. You don't want to add additional noise on top of it if you don't want to. Now, you may have a separate grow space, and it might not even bother you. But the fans are on there in order to keep the lights cool. But you would still probably want to put a fan or an inline filtration system in your tent in order to keep the air flowing and stuff, to keep your vegetation getting some O2. The ones that I'm talking about are like this one here. If you notice, there's no fan or anything attached. This is a 46 watt light, I think it is. And this is also another old one. Let me plug this in so I can show you guys. See, this one is another one that has different spectrums and things like that. And if you notice, no noise at all. None. So turn that off. So that's one of the things that when you hear people talk about the different colors of the grow lights, that's what they're talking about, the different spectrum because of the growth stages of the plant. Don't worry about all of that. Just buy full spectrum lights. So another question that I get pretty often is because people question the amount they'll have to spend each month in their light bill because of the grow lights. Now, I can guarantee you, I have my lights on. My lights are 1,500 watts per light. I have 2 lights in my tank, and they're both 4x4 lights. I don't think I pay over, based upon my electricity company, probably over $25 maybe additional a month for my lights. To me, that is worth it in order to have fresh vegetables and fruit. For others, you may have a smaller, grow space or a larger one. So you want to get lights that's going to cover you. The first thing I would tell you to do is check with your electric company and find out what your kilowatt hours are. So what you would do is take, say for instance, the grow light and do like, how is the formula? It's like, let's say you got 1,000 watt grow light. So it's like 1,000 watts divided by, let's say it's 10 cents per kilowatt hour. And when you do the 10 cents, it's 0.0010. So, because they do it along those lines. And then you basically divide that into the wattage of the grow light. And then you want to times that by the amount of hours that you're going to be using your grow light. So for me, for instance, I'm keeping my lights on for about 12 hours a day. So, and I'm not really seeing anything to really push anything with my particular light bill. But again, different grow lights emit different wattages. They have formulas that you can use online that will calculate the cost for you. And I will put that in a link in the description so that you can kind of get a rough estimate as to what it would cost you per month to grow whatever it is you want to grow based upon the lights that you get. So another question that I got is the wattage that is needed for for you to grow whatever it is you want to grow. So the biggest thing that I would say when it comes to that is to look at your grow space. I would say, and I'm just thinking along the lines of what I did within my garden, I didn't see much growth with anything under, let's say, 45 watts. 45 watts would probably be good enough to just grow maybe some lettuce maybe, and that's even certain lettuce, because you'll get like beginning vegetation, with the sprouting and so on, and that's probably good for that. So if you wanted to start seedlings, that would be your best wattage for that. But if you want to get to a bloom stage to where you're actually growing fruits and vegetables and things like that, I'm here to tell you, you want something at least probably like 1,000 watts or above. I say that because you need to be able to get the plant to come out of the vegetation stage into the blooming stage. And you could go lower than that, but it may take longer for your plant to actually start, producing fruits and vegetables and such. So, and I'm not no, expert on this, but I'm just telling you from the experience that I've had, that for me to grow that, I prefer 1,000 watts and above in order to be able to get what I want out of the lights. So, and okay, I answered the other one about why are some grow lights noisy, and that's because some of them have fans. The best way to combat that, get a fan inside your tent that you can have blowing around. The reason why you want a fan in your tent is to be able to get the air circulation going in there, so it can kind of mimic as if the plant was outside. So you really don't need, with today's lights, you really do not need a fan on the lights. They've gotten really fancy now. They have Samsung diodes now, which are on, I believe is on mine too. But, and also one thing you want to get too, if you notice how these lights, they have like a plastic thing on it, that's because they're trying to protect the diodes from getting wet. You're going to have it in a grow space. It's going to be humid and so on like that. And it may be water splashing. So that this here goes to tell me that without this, these lights are not waterproof. So they would probably get damaged being not covered up. Today's lights, which are pretty fancy, which is, I love the lights that I have now. And I will put a link in the description of the lights that I'm actually using. And these lights are actually coated now. So you don't have to worry about this and so on. The heat dissipation is now very well done, so that you don't necessarily, as long as you get a good set of lights, you don't necessarily need a fan that's covering the light or inside the light itself. But you do want one in your tent if you're going to use a grow tent, so that you can have air circulation. They also make air filtration systems. You've seen those with the big inlines where they go around. You can get those too. I'm here to tell you I don't know much about those because I only use a fan, and I've been able to produce everything I want so far. So that's just something to keep in mind. Now, sorry, just lost my train of thought there. So basically, those are just kind of sort of the basic rules of thumb for your grow lights. One is be sure to measure your grow space so that you can buy lights to cover the space. Two, check with your power company and get your kilowatt hours, and use one of the calculators online to get an idea of what you're going to spend. If you're using a grow tent, you want to get a light that's based upon the size of your grow tent. This is basically going to help you to efficiently be able to grow whatever it is you want to grow. Be sure when you look for a grow light that you're looking for a full spectrum grow light. That way you're not worried about colors and everything, unless you want to do some kind of experimentation or something. Otherwise, just go for full spectrum. You can just set it and forget it and just keep it moving. And also with that, like mine, some grow lights come with dimmers. So for instance, in the seedling stage, I can turn my lights down so that they're not being overpowered. And as they grow, I can turn the light up in order to bring it all the way to the bloom stage of the fruits and vegetables. Now, grow lights can make your space very warm. So if you're going to have it in an enclosed space, be sure to get a fan or something like that so that it doesn't get too hot. Remember, some plants can't handle too much of high heat. They can't deal with that. So it'll be in your best interest to have some kind of air flowing in there. An extra tip that I want to give you is get an electronic timer. This way, when you set your whole grow tent up, you can plug it into the timer, set the timer, and every day you don't have to worry about turning things on and turning things off. Now, there's a caveat to that. If you buy some of those little grow kits and so on, where they're individual grow kits with their own lights, they may not work for those. Because if you have everything feeding through the same power, your regular lights and everything is going to perform just that way. But that little kit that you would buy with the lights and so on attached, it may not turn on, and you would have to manually go and turn it on. Only reason why I'm bringing that up is because it happened to me, and I kept wondering how come it wasn't turning on, and it's because it's on its own power supply. So basically, you just want to go and take a look. I mean, man, my grow lights cost me probably about $120 each. You don't have to get something that expensive, and then there are others that are more expensive. I mean, they have grow lights that can go into the thousands. So depending on what it is you want to grow, you want to just make sure that you find something for your space. And remember, I prefer using a grow tent because the grow tent kind of helps me keep in line with, okay, so my grow tent is this big, these are the lights I need, this is how many plants I need. or I can grow in there. Maybe I could squeeze another one, or get a bigger grow tent for what I want to grow. So I'm hoping this information is useful to someone out there. And I'm just trying to do my best. And if you guys have any ideas, suggestions, critiques even, please put them in the comments. I'll be more than happy to respond to everyone. And guys, stay safe out there, okay? You don't have to do kumbaya, but just, be kind to one another. Some people are having a bad day and you just don't know it. So just be kind to everyone. Be safe. Take care of yourself. And this is Hydro Betty. Take care. Bye.